Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you are doing great. Hope that all is pleasant for you, with you, and most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, my friends, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we discuss here on the Common Sense channel. So, once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. So, today we're going to talk about the spiritual aspect of music and sound, the impact that it has on the human species or the human thinking process or on the evolution of who we are as human beings, our entire essence. So today we're going to look at the impact that music has on us, music and sound. Early people or early human beings or early humanity use sound to communicate between various tribes, between various communities, and over time, they start to understand that the sound that they were producing created music. Because if you don't know, sound or sounds create music. If you start to, it creates something called rhythm, and that rhythm create music. Um, Music is soothing. So is sound too. Music hypnotizes the mind. It allows you to stay focused on whatever, whoever is trying to keep you focused. There always must be something that is trying to keep you hypnotized, to keep you focused. So if it's not a physical person, it's actually the sound that is radiating from the music. This stuff is deep. And that's the reason why those who understand the power and the spiritual essence of sound and music use it all the time to hypnotize the masses. Even psychologists, in psychology, this stuff is one of the biggest tool that's used to get people to say things, to do things in ways they want you to do. As I said, there must always be someone trying to hypnotize you or something trying to hypnotize you in a specific direction or towards a specific direction that they want. So when organized religion comes into the picture, understanding the power of sound and music, they are able to utilize it in a way that has never been done before. Because sound is not new. 70% of the human body is comprising of water. If you understand science well, biology, you would know that sound and water, those two, they merge together. The way sound goes through water is uniquely um is great if you understand sound and water. So that's the reason why human beings are easily hypnotized by sound and music. You understand this stuff? I mean, like sometimes when I think about these things, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Why is it that some people are fixated on a specific music? Why is it that some people are so fixated on a specific music that whenever they hear that music, it gives them memories of the past, of certain things that happened to them, and it brings them, even if they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, their memory can be as new as when they were at that age, or when that event or situation happens in their life. So it's that understanding that those who wants to control the masses have understood. What am I saying? Organized religion. You understand? And anyone out there, politician use it as well. Um, the music industry, they are notorious for this. So let's try to that's the essence of this video. So spirituality in music and sound. Even though organized religion tells us that there is one God, but if you look at history, you will understand that there's never been one God. You know, there's more than one gods. And for those that understand spirituality and understand the spiritual aspect of our world, because we are living in the physical and the spiritual world. You understand? That's why you have the living and the dead. Some people don't know that. They just think everything is physical. Yes, it's what you see that you know. But if you don't see those things that you don't see, then you wouldn't think they exist. But in the realm of sound and music, they do. You understand? Those people that understand these things, they know. So there are many gods. That's why when I read um, organized religious texts, I see many contradictions. There are so many contradictions in organized religious texts that if you are not mindful, you can be, your belief system can dissipate easily because then you have too many questions. And human beings are not predisposed to want to have too many questions. We are predisposed to have question and answer. This is all we've always seek for. But what I'm trying to say is there are many gods, and some of these gods, to approach them, you have to come with melody. You have to come with sound of music. Because if you don't know it, it is many different sounds. It depends on the frequencies. It depends on how they are manipulated to make music. So some gods, um, before you approach them, you have to make some sounds. They call it chanting or incantation in order to approach them. Sometimes they are asleep, and to wake them up is the music. So that's why when you go into places that are pseudo holy, you have to make noise. Some gods love beautiful melody, beautiful sound, beautiful voices. And this is what I believe, and this is what I know now, that the composer or the record label hire musicians to make these sounds into music, into beautiful melody, because they themselves cannot do it. Some of them try to sing the melodies to the music that they compose. But those gods that give them the music, that gifted them the music, do not appreciate their voice. Or maybe their voice is not as beautiful as that God that give you the music. If you don't know, there are gods for everything. There are gods of music. There are gods for technology. There are gods for health. There are gods for everything. That's why when in the beginning story, when the God in the text, so organized religious text, was speaking, it says, let us make man. Let us make man in our image. Who was the us? And that same God say, I'm a jealous God. Do not serve nothing but me. So that means there are other gods out there. So sometimes when you say these things, those who are hypnotized to organized religion, they turn to argue with that. But they don't understand the contradictions that are in the text. So I often like to back these things up when I say them. So what I'm trying to say, there are many gods. Those people that composes music, they have the gift from these gods, but they don't have the melody to sing the song so that it continue to have the gift. Understand? So they hire people called musicians. And these musicians, they have the voice that the gods or the spirit wants to hear. Understand? But with everything like that, like what I just discussed, comes rituals that you must perform. Maybe the musician would be the one to perform the rituals, or the composer that gets the song. Who knows where he or she is getting the song? But all of these things require rituals. You see in the incident, or in the instant, or in the case of organized religious God, that you must offer a sacrifice all the time. You understand? Sacrifice is, even though they tell you Yeshua Mashiach passes away on the altar and pay the price for all the sin, it's not true. There's still sacrifices going on. And if you have a specific gift, technological gift, engineering gift, gifts, musical gift, building gift, gifts of words, wisdom, this comes with sacrifices that you, my friends, must perform. So these composers that write this music, they get this music and they can't perform them because they don't have the voice to perform this music. So they give them out to people who has the sound in their voices and the rhythm in their voices to produce sound in music that are glorifying to the gods that gifted these composers the music. You get what I'm saying? So whatever, there are good gods and there are terrible gods. Depends on how you see it. Some people that are hypnotized to religion organized religion. They think that every music that comes from organized religion is holy, is pure for the soul. But one thing they don't know is whatever you listen to has a greater impact on your entire spirituality. All humans, again, are spiritual by nature. It is part of our essence. Why is that? Because when you have exited the physical body, which is what we are, there is a spiritual part of you that also exists within the physical body. So the body is almost like a vessel. All it does is receive things and it reacts to it. So the psychology or biology, they say stimulus. You get stimulated from your environment and you react. That's all we're constantly doing. Humans are constantly reacting. We may react indirectly or directly. So, in order to go to these gods, you must come to them, especially gods of music. You must go to them with a beautiful voice. And some musician has beautiful voice. If you notice some of them, if they are not doing the right thing that they're supposed to do, sometimes some of them don't even know these things. The only person that knows the spiritual aspect of the sound and the music they're producing are the composers, because they gets the music wherever they get it from. There are musicians that also get the music for themselves too. It depends on where and who they are tapping from, and they are required to do sacrifices. Again, there's still sacrifices going on. Don't listen to them like some guy pay the price for all the sacrifices that they used to do. No, it's not true. There are still sacrifices going on. It depends on what it is. But let me tell you, the greatest of them all are human sacrifices. There are things that happen in the spiritual world that you don't see because you're physical. In order to see them, you must dabble into the spiritual world to see them. Or can be revealed to you too, even if you don't see them. But you must commune with the dead. The dead are all around us. They didn't go nowhere. You understand? Let no one tells you the dead went to heaven. No, they're here. There are movies that kind of explain that too. But only those people that understand, they love this kind of movies. But the dead are with us. But you have to honor them. You have to show reverence, because they are your eyes into the spiritual world. And they can reveal things to you that you don't see with the physical, but you hear them talk to you. They so yeah, I just wanted to do this video because like most people don't know the spiritual impact of sound and music, how they are relevant in your day-to-day activity. I want to say this that if you to understand this, I don't want to say it's a phenomenon because some people know it. A phenomenon is something that you can't understand. So there are people that understand these things. So I'm not going to say it's a phenomenon, but take for example your own car. The more you interact with that car, for those of us that drive regularly, the better is it you get acquaintance with understanding the entire mechanism of that car. Like if that car is running proper, you know, you can hear it because the sound is it's almost as a music to your ear that you're hypnotized to the car. So you know whether it's running properly. You can hear the shocks, the absorbers. You can hear the fan belt. You can hear if the thermostat is going bad. You can hear if the alternator, you can hear these things if you're fully hypnotized to it. That's the reason why when you go into some organized religious houses, there are more sound of music than what the preacher is saying. You hear more music than the word itself coming from the preacher man or the deacon, the bishop, the whatever his title is or her. You hear more sound in these churches. Some churches, they're just quiet. They don't do some religious houses. I don't want to just say churches. Organized religious houses, you hear more like somber, but they still have music. There has to be some sound of music in that organized religious house because they themselves understand the importance of music and sound. Um, in the early beginning of organized religion, music was never part of their form of worship. No, never. And they basically just pray and just enchant. They just talk to whoever they're talking to. It doesn't mean that sound and music was not around, but it wasn't part of their form of worship. You understand? It was later on that they saw what society was doing based on tradition and culture that they start to incorporate. They start to understand that when people enchanted, that it took them from a different level of spirituality into a different place. And they saw that that was more connecting to the spiritual world than just the word that they were saying. You see what I'm saying? So they start to use both of them, both words and sound and music, not say both, or three of them combined to tap into the spiritual aspect of the human being. Understand? That's the reason why sometimes you sit in your car or anywhere in our world today and you hear a song, a music. The sound of the music is transporting, is frequenting as a signal through the car, but you can almost feel what the person is saying as if the person is next to you, singing right next to you. That feeling is the sound that's radiating through whatever instrument you're listening to. And you can feel as if you were there with them. That's the power of sound and music. There are people that only listen to just a specific set of music or genre. They don't change the kind of music they listen to. They listen to that specific music, whether it's a rock band, R&B, hip hop. They call it gospel, but gospel, a lot of people when they listen to gospel music, you'll be better off to say religious song than say gospel, because if you say gospel, gospel is a different form of religious music from it's actually it was birthed out of slavery. Gospel, if you hear gospel. So it's the gospel. They say it's good news. But gospel music was birthed out of slavery. It's how the slave connected spiritually to beating drums, hitting things, creating sound, and then the sound create melodies, and now there's a music, and then they sing to it. And usually was to sing of their their pain, their anguish, those things that they want to see happen for them to change the situation. Things that happen between them and those who were their so called masters or lords. They will channel that into sound and music and to talk of their sorrow, their pain, their anguish. So when you hear gospel music, it's that melody, sound combined to form music, to tell a story, to tell a narrative of our spirituality. You understand? Their spirituality. So the power of sound and music can be dated back to early human beings trying to understand their connection to the spiritual world. So if you're out there and you're listening to music, don't just listen to it because you think it's soothing, it makes me feel so great. The reason why it makes you feel that way is because of the energies that are radiating from the sound that the music is producing. It's to make you hypnotized and hypnotize you. Basically, you're being hypnotized, but you don't even know it. And that same very song that hypnotizes you, or that can hypnotize you, can also control you. That's the reason why in the military there are certain sounds, certain music that when you hear, you know exactly what to do. Like no one needs to tell you. If it's to form a formation, you know. If it's time for drill, you know. If it's time to get ready to go into combat, you know. If it's time to focus, you know. If you go in organized religious houses, there are certain sound of music that comes on. You know, it's time to be quiet. It's time to pay attention. So the sound of the music shaped the way your behavior, the way you behave in whatever settings you find yourself. So, what I'm trying to say is you have to be careful. You have to be mindful. You have to be vigilant as to what music or sound of music you're listening to. Because if you are not careful, you can be easily hypnotized to a point where you have no control of yourself, to a point where you are manipulated to do things that you would otherwise not do if you are not hypnotized or manipulated or controlled to do these things. And that's the reason why I think you must be very selective in the kind of music or sound of music that you listen to, because some of these musics or songs has demonic, I'm not going to say satanic, or let me squash this too, and let me just say influences, spiritual influences to them that can control you in ways that you would like or you wouldn't like, or may make you do things that you don't want to do, good or bad. So I say people should not just focus on, like especially those who have children. Don't just focus on the TV show they're watching. Don't just focus on whatever programs out there they're watching on social media. Pay attention to the music too, because the music is Yeah, I'm not going to say satanic. I'm not going to say demonic. But I know that it has spirit in them. And the spirit can be good or bad. But sometimes the more you listen to those spirits, and if they like you, they they'll they will, because you're hypnotized, right? So that becomes part of you. So the more you listen to it, that's the reason why somebody like I don't know if I can say this, but I think I can, because there's been many examples out there of musician children. Musician children, why do they become musician? If not all of them, but at least one or two of them may pick up what their parents are doing and become even better at it, because they are constantly in the presence of music. And because music and sound, it has a spiritual component to it. The more they become familiar with it, the more the spiritual aspect of that music, sound and music become part of them. And if the spiritual aspect of that music, whatever is it your parents are doing, likes you, they'll it will embrace you, and it will make you better. But you have to sacrifice. If you notice some of these people, they may look good from the outside. You see, an entire family is a family of musicians. They have that gift, but there are certain aspects of that family that you don't know about. And if they're not doing what they need to do, that family is gonna break down. Because every gift that you have comes with a sacrifice. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it'll be taken away. The gift from the spirit to you will be taken away, either by untimely death, sickness, addiction. Something's going to happen to you. That's why I think if you are a musician, you must also be a composer. It's very necessary. If you're a musician, if you're aspiring to be a musician, you must learn to write your own song, your own music. Because a musician is familiar with sound. This is what they do. They're able to put all these sounds together to make a beautiful melody, right? So you already have that gift. But you must know whatever gift you have. And some of them, you're not to abuse certain things. Some of them are very simple. If you have these gifts, you can't do drugs. You can't drink alcohol. You can't do things that you're not supposed to do. You can't be a womanizer. You can't be around too many sex. You have to know the sacrifices. What I just listed now are sacrifices that may not be blood sacrifices, but they're just personal things that you can do. You have to be pure. You can't be corrupt. You cannot do it for money. You can't be proud. You can't be pompous. You can't be too big. Now, the moment you start to drift away from you, I mean, you know it. That the more you, if you, professional and gifted musician knows when they go out of bound, or if when they go out of their boundaries, they know what happened to them. They'll sit there and they can't even think about nothing. If they try to sing a song, there's no melody to it. They have to like pause and come back again. The moment you start to see these things, that means you've done something that's outside, that's against your gift. So don't do it again, in short, so that way you stay focused. Some people have gift that they're not supposed to get rich out of it. They're supposed to give it to the world. The moment they start to take money and enrich themselves from it, that gift go away. If it's music, since we're talking about music, we're just going to focus on music and sound. So it's the same thing. And the sacrifices, you can expand if you want to be powerful to blood sacrifice if you want to. Again, don't let organized religious people fool you to telling you that some guy named Jesus, I say Yeshua HaMashiach, has given his life for all of the sacrifices. It's not true. And the reason is because they themselves are still doing sacrifices, but they don't know it. Some of them do, but not all of them do. You understand? So start human sacrifices. Sacrifices in any form still exist today. It's just that you don't know it because you've been hypnotized to a bunch of lies, and that even the truth is hard to comprehend. Even if it's right in front of your faces, you still won't comprehend it because you've been hypnotized. So yeah, I just wanted to do this video to just encourage people, more like caution you, give you some caution as to what music you listen to. Yeah, stuff is real. And nowadays music, I'm telling you, they like to say demonic, satanic. None of that stuff exists. It's the physical and the spiritual world that exist. Yeah, you understand? It depends on who is hypnotizing it, who is manipulating it, that can turn it into something else. But Satan, demons, all these things, these are all imagination, mere imagination of the human mind. Remember, remember, everything that you see in our world today comes out of the imagination of human beings. You understand? Human beings imagining things and that thing manifesting itself into your reality. You can do the same too. You don't need no one to do that for you. Whatever it is that you imagine in your mind, with time, persistency, consistency, you know, will come into being. That's how it is. It's how this whole thing come into being. No devil, nothing, create nothing. And if you want to seek it, and you can go beyond your imagination to understand those things. It's a choice thing. You understand? You seeking. And there's a movie called The Fountain of Life. I think this guy wanted to know the fountain of life. He kept seeking, going beyond himself, his understanding, and then he found it. It's the same thing. You can do that if that's your goal, if that's your journey in life, you can find it. Whatever. If you say you want to know who the devil is, in which is something you create in your mind, you can make it reality. Yeah. You can design it, you can create it, you can structure it, you can manipulate it, whatever it say you want to do. It's that power that lies within you, and that's the power that Yeshua HaMashiach, aka Jesus the Christ, was speaking of. These organized religious people out here don't want you to believe that you have these powers in you. They want you to believe that the power is in a building, it's in a temple, it's in a synagogue, it's in a text book. If that wasn't the case, why organized religion had to take the text and turn it into music, sound and music? They could have just leave the text and say read it and believe that your spirituality is going to come out of these texts, these books. But they know if you combine the text and the music and the sound together, then you have a full hypnotized religion, organized religion. You understand that you're able to control that environment, and you're able to make people believe that they're in the moment, that they are in a spiritual settings. Some people, when they go to these religious houses, when certain song comes on, that's what make the day. They don't care much about what the preacher is saying in the church. He can be reading from that text all the one because their entire life they've heard that. But whatever song, some people, there's specific song, music that comes on in these religious houses. Once they hear that, they go into the spiritual fixation to a point where they believe that they're in a different place. This is what music does to you. It puts you in a different place, in a different setting. It's almost like a, I don't know how to describe it as, but you feel like you're in a different place, like maybe like in Mars or Jupiter. You don't feel like you can be standing right there. You feel like no one is around you. It's just you, and you are moving towards the fountain of life, which is the Almighty. You can see that yourself. That's why they want you to close your eyes so you can envision yourself in the presence of the Almighty. That's what music does. Some people go to these places, religious temples, religious houses, just for the music. Because what the music is soothing to them, is realization to them. It makes them feel as if all of the trouble, the burden has been removed and they are free, they're empty. It's the power of music. They call them worldly music, they call them satanic music. These are all just nonsense. You understand? Music is music. The only difference is it has it could have a negative effect on you and it could have a positive effect on you. It depends who, my friends, is hypnotizing you using the sound of that music or the sound and the music together to hypnotize you, to manipulate you, to control you, to do certain things or in a certain direction. So yes, I just wanted to do this video to kind of explain this thing. Um, it's deep. It's a deep topic, but it's real. It's realistic, and it's part of our world. It's part of our human essence. It is part of our nature. It is who we are. Music and sound is who we are. You understand? Anyone can create music. In some cultures, all they need to do is just hit drums and hit things, object, and everybody in that community knows exactly what's going on. They'll assemble, and then in the process, they'll start to worship and they start to dance. This is the power of sound and music. So I just want to leave you with this. I want to thank the new subscribers that came on, I think this week. I think it's two of them. I want to welcome you to the Common Sense channel, my friends. On this channel, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we discuss here on the Common Sense channel. So I want to welcome you to my channel. I don't discuss things that other people discuss. I may, but I'm not moved by that. I'm moved by the ancestors. And that's why I do my videos certain time. You understand? So welcome to the Common Sense channel. At any point you feel like commenting, saying something, go ahead. Feel free to say it. You're welcome to our platform. As I've always said, the greatest thing, my friends, that could ever happen to you is not the day you're born, not the day you graduated from high school, college, the day you became a lawyer, doctor, the day you had your first child. None of that stuff. The greatest thing, my friend, that could ever happen to you is the day you discover yourself. Because from that moment on, everything is start to make sense to you, including understanding all the vices, all the elements of music and sound, or sound and music. These are two powerful elements that are hypnotizing to the human essence or the human nature or the human mind. So be careful as to what you listen to, as to what you surround yourself with. You understand? Because these can be a tool used to manipulate and control you from a distance without you knowing, directly or indirectly. So be careful. I hope that you are doing great. I hope that all is pleasant for you. And most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Have a pleasant day. Thank you.